Welcome, sentient beings from all known universes and beyond. It's time to activate your cranial downlinks and prepare to receive a raft of discussion on a cosmic ocean of science fiction and fantasy topics, interviews with local area genre devotees, and insightful prognostication by our soothsayers of science fiction, our forecasters of fantasy, and any other beings that happen to get caught in our gravity well. This is the Galactic Driftwood Podcast.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to another episode of the Galactic Driftwood Podcast. I guess it is a podcast. I'm Bill.
I'm John.
I'm Audie.
I'm Seth.
And I'm Jenna.
And Charles would have been here, but he's got the flu. And since we didn't want it, we were happy he didn't come.
I had nothing to do with that whatsoever. I just found his seat comfy.
Yes. Yeah. We should have just done the show and called you Charles for the whole show and see if any of our listeners posted any comments.
No, but that would mean that's your name now, because that's what ask Sean. Sean will tell you all that.
I don't know what you're talking about. Don't
That's
know
how
what you're
this
talking
goes.
about.
No, they couldn't have questioned because that could have been, rude.
Right, right. Charles could have had an operation.
Amazing doctors.
Yes.
Amazing.
A very successful operation.
Much more so than if it had gone the other way, the other direction. If it went from Jenna to Charles,
Hey,
we might have called that a failure. No,
I
I'm
would
just
have
kidding,
relished
Charles.
the goatee.
Yeah.
Charles has a goatee.
Well, she would have grown one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh.
exactly. That's the
Yeah.
point.
Charles would look interesting with a goatee, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
That bald
Oh, he
head with a
definitely needs to grow
goatee.
one then, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
Next time we see him, we all got to look at him and just do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then
We're just thinking about all the bridges you designed that we won't drive on. Yes. Bad bridges. Because Charles is an engineer, you know.
yes.
Yes. But yeah, he's not here today.
No.
What would we like to do today?
Well, I think first of all, we might want to explain the proliferation of lightsabers on the table today.
This is a nerd podcast. I kind of assumed that it's like
Went
they would
without
expect
saying.
that.
Yeah.
All right, well, please. My two sabers are on the table.
And they've been here before.
They have been here before. They know the lay of the land. But there's two new sabers.
I'm taking it that your two didn't mate and have babies.
No. No.
Wish
I'm
it
sure
worked
there's a
that
video
way.
out there on the internet for that.
No doubt.
Yeah,
What is that, Rule 34?
Yeah.
Right.
The proliferation of lightsabers.
Yes. If
Yes,
not,
that's exactly what that is.
yeah. If there isn't, there will be by tonight.
Deep in the bowels
Soon
of the
as
dark
people
web,
hear this.
there's
Yeah.
something out there.
Yes.
we
Well,
don't
yeah.
want.
So Linda and I have gotten lightsabers now because we're going to do a Star Wars Jedi cosplay, and actually Seth and John and Jenna and Linda and I, and I don't know if anybody else is going yet, but are you going?
We'll
to
see what the future
see what the future holds. Are going to Planet ComicCon in Kansas City, and we're going to do a group Jedi cosplay. So.
So as long as Planet ComicCon approves our press passes, hopefully, if anyone's listening, please,
Nudge, nudge,
please.
wink, wink.
Yeah. We have press experience.
There we go.
We do. But no, it's, my friend Brian Wiseman would like to get on that too. He has his Jedi stuff all set, and he wants to. I'm sure he'd love to pull out his new darksaber. So yeah,
So
the darksaber's
So
really
define
cool.
that for me, because I'm not familiar with that.
It's a saber that was actually not a saber, but it can combat sabers. It was mainly used by a Mandalorian.
Oh. What color is it?
It's not really.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's almost drawn like it's a nothing space.
Yeah.
So like
Oh,
a
it's an
black
air
hole?
saber.
Yeah.
It's black, and there's a light that shines up through the plastic casing, and it looks pretty sharp. It does.
Neat.
It is, and I was like,
have to look
you're
it
all
up
going to see
online.
it at PlanetCon. So yeah.
Yeah, the darksaber is featured in the cartoons. Clone. I think it's in Clone Wars, and in Rebels as well. I need to watch more of the Star Wars cartoons.
Yeah, me too. I do.
They're
Since
good.
it's actually canon, and it's actually
Yeah.
it's not for children. I mean, it can be, but it's like it's
Well,
actually
it's definitely for kids, but it's written in that way that kids and adults can enjoy it.
It's no sex, no real violence. So
Yeah, but that's kind of just Star Wars in general, right
Yeah.
there.
yeah, well, no Ewoks. So that makes me anything. What you like Ewoks?
They're cute and fuzzy. Of course she
I
does.
was yeah,
The
exactly.
teddy
And they're
bears
full
that
of
brought
murder.
down
They're
the Empire.
murder teddy bears.
They're murder bears. Yeah, they are. They're murder bears.
Aren't
Tribal
all
murder bears.
No,
Yeah.
here.
Aren't-
All right. Why did the Ewoks have clothing for Princess Leia?
Just saying.
No, I'm just saying they had to kill somebody earlier, and then hey, look what we have.
They most
and they
likely
must have had many sizes because I mean, they didn't just have just a Princess Leia size dress, so they must have maybe a whole
Unless that's,
TJ Maxx full of stuff, and it's like
unless that's the connection to the movies themselves, and that they still had stuff left over from the mom who died in the crash. Well, she didn't die in the crash; she was actually captured.
no full on. They probably ate the previous owner of that dress. They were gonna eat Han Solo. They
Solo.
ate someone before. They had to know like that's good eating.
Man,
yeah, they're gonna eat. They're gonna eat all of them. They were,
Yeah, because they were getting ready to cook them.
they're getting ready.
on a
Num. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, now, so for the Planet ComicCon, Seth, I think we're talking about doing a Sith, which made it easy for me to remember your name just now because I was thinking Sith.
Seth the Sith.
I was gonna say if it. So far, I haven't seen much evidence of it of anything making it easy to remember my name, which is Seth.
which is also the dark god of the Egyptians. So still evil.
It's all good. I know.
right. Yep.
It's Seth, spelled SHAWN. Seth. I understand. I
Yes.
do.
No, you don't.
Now, so Seth, are you just doing your own? I mean, you're not doing a specific Sith character if you do one, or
I have no idea yet. I
Okay.
have never done a cosplay of anything before.
Oh, all right. Nice.
Yeah.
I think you.
Fun. Y'all's costume nerds. I'm not a costume nerd. I'm just
Yet.
Seth, we're gonna pop that cherry heart.
The hentai
Well,
mistress has spoken.
goodbye clear rating yet again.
This is what you knew what you were getting into when you asked me to be on this.
And
Yeah.
No, we
and
knew,
Jenna's saying that knowing full well that my wife is right over there.
we knew what we were getting into when you liked the title hentai mistress. So it's like we kind of got an indication
There's
of
no
where
evidence
this was
of that whatsoever.
except the last
Not
show.
a recording or anything.
No,
Might
not
be-
what.
There
no.
might be the last show. Might be.
Nothing will go out a week from this Wednesday that confirms that.
Or denies that. Yeah. But no, it will. It will. I'm sorry.
All right, now, John, you do Obi-Wan Kenobi in your
Yes.
cosplay, and it's old Obi-Wan, not young Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Right.
But I'm not going to grow the beard back. I'm not.
You're
gonna
not?
do it. I'm tired of the beard, man. It's like
Well, it's possible Obi-Wan may have shaved at some point. I mean, he spent a long time in the
a
desert.
long time in the desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You got
Sand.
tired tan lines.
yeah,
Sand
Yeah.
probably got in it.
yeah, it's a good point. Every now and then you got to get the sandworms out.
Oh,
I can
But then
always change my
You've got
mind.
some nice spice.
Yes, spice in your beard. Are those sandworms?
But the
spice
beard.
must flow.
Yes.
I would do the beard if I was doing Obi-Wan alone, but I'll be probably at some point
Doing
in my
something else.
traditional Star Trek uniform or in my Full Metal Alchemist uniform, and none of my other cosplays roll with a beard. So
Other than Spock in the Mirror Universe, can you think of any
or
Star
Commander
Trek?
Riker.
Riker.
well,
Riker,
no,
yeah,
original
yeah.
series. It's like
Well, yeah, because he
Even-
does an original series cosplay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And even in Next Gen, the only one I can think of is Riker and the one captain played by Kelsey Grammer in the episode where they kept
The
looping.
loop. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
and that's
right.
there's just not a lot of beards in Star Trek.
Yeah.
They're not a bearded people.
Huh.
Yeah.
You've
And
got a
that's-
lot of Klingons with facial hair, though.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I don't, but I
That's all
don't.
he can say to that.
I
Gowron.
Well, now,
don't want a Klingon. Sorry.
so Jenna, what are you planning to cosplay as Jedi for Comic Con?
That I've got to still work on. I mean, I like the character Mara Jade.
Oh yeah.
So,
Is she from the
and-
comics? Because I'm not familiar.
She's
she's-
from the books, the extended universe
Yeah.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Luke's wife.
Yeah, Luke's wife.
Oh, never knew.
Star-
Married.
was originally a Hand of the Empire.
Yeah, Hand of the Emperor.
They have a hand just like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Kind.
But it's more of
no.
an assassin,
Yeah,
not an
this is-
advisor.
This is more of a hand that strangles people, less of a hand that takes care of
yeah.
day-to-day
It's not
business.
for the
Gotcha.
people, it's more to punish the people.
Right.
So
I just can't. Speaking of day-to-day business, I just can't see the Emperor sitting down and reviewing reports.
no.
That's not where I thought
That's
you
a
were going to go with
computer for that.
I really didn't.
Yeah.
When you said, speaking of day-to-day business, I can't imagine the Empire sitting down. I was like, where's he going to go with it? Where's he going to go?
Doesn't
So-
he constantly sit though? I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Well, I mean, if you're horribly disfigured, you might want to just constantly sit and relax.
But here's the thing. That says a lot about his lack of vanity because look at their future. He could have fixed that if he wanted.
Right.
Yeah.
And he never fixed that.
Right.
Because who's gonna tell him you're horribly disfigured? I mean,
They've got to have mirrors.
yeah, but it's the power thing. It's like you're the emperor, one of the only people who's got force powers.
Well-
Who's gonna look you in the eye and say, "Nah, you're too ugly, man"?
Well, I mean, look. It's Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that Jaime and Cersei had kids together, but no one's going to say it because power.
Well, they are talking about it all
They are
over the
now.
They're losing, just
now
not
that-
to their face.
Now that the power structure has changed, they're starting to talk about it. But when the full power was in place, no one's going to say anything.
And there are different forms of power. I have a feeling the Emperor was more of like a this is my Armani robes power.
This is my invisible clothes
His
power. Yeah.
power robe.
Yes.
He's had his power robes instead of his like facial power.
Right.
It is actual lightning from the fingers power.
Yeah, yeah. Like, what are you gonna say to that?
Yeah. What if the Emperor walked into the throne room naked, just rolled up? I know that's just not the visual's not pleasant, but
No.
it's like he
Things
rolls
that
up,
cannot be unseen.
just sits on a throne.
It's where it's like a 2-bucket day.
That's another power play. That's
It is. It's like.
Sorry, I think I have the flu.
What are you
Your
gonna
Highness.
say? Nothing.
If you wouldn't man spread, Mr. Emperor, that would be nice. You know, it's like,
And then it's lightning.
Out of it.
stop it. Bad, Bill. Bad.
I mean, yeah, we never aside from a tyrannical government, what does the Emperor do with his power? What was his end goal? Like, why conquer the galaxy?
Yeah,
Right.
if you can't roll in the throne room naked, why did I conquer the
Actually,
galaxy?
I know the answer to that question, and it's in the extended universe. They actually gave a reason for why the Emperor conquered the Old Republic, and it was because of a race called the Yuzhang Vong.
Yep, they're Force users, and the only way that
No, they aren't Force users.
they were, or they hate Force users.
They are completely immune to the Force. Like, as far as the Force is concerned, they don't exist. They're from outside the galaxy. And depending on who you talk to, it was a horrible run of the extended universe books. But
I liked them. I
But-
did. It's like the idea of actually
Yeah.
setting up and to defend the galaxy against that kind of gave the Sith purpose, other than just being total Dickensians.
dicks for
Yeah.
just to be dicks to the universe.
But it is interesting then that you're saying that the Force is only to this one galaxy versus the whole universe.
Well, I don't know.
Right.
There are other species within the galaxy that are immune to the Force, or actually project a bubble of that the Force doesn't exist in. I spent a lot of my high school years reading the Star Wars books. A lot of them.
Let's be honest, where you went to high school, there wasn't much else to do.
No. Rural Nebraska is not kind to book nerds.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
Walked uphill in the snow,
Both
both ways.
All I had was a Walden books. Not even a Barnes and Noble.
Not even a library?
No, well, in Hershey, no.
Oh, God.
Not a library that had any amount of science fiction or fantasy, anyway.
Huh. Oh, since we're walking down memory lane, would we like to do that pedigree thing we were talking about?
Yes.
The idea of, hey,
What
is
kind of
your-
nerd are you?
what kind of nerd are you? What and specifically genre, like Star Trek. What Trek are you? And for example, when I identify my Trek nerddom, I am original series. Shatner is my captain. Spock is my first officer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like Star Wars, sequel, prequel, or original. And I have to go original.
It's
I
not
do.
that clean for me.
Okay.
Picard's my favorite captain,
Yeah.
right? But I'll always have a special place in my heart for the original series Enterprise, and a lot of those shows too. I mean,
This is the first episode in a while that you haven't had the original Enterprise on the table.
yes.
That's sad.
Well, I do have a starship. I have Discovery on the table
Yeah.
right here. He's watching
Yeah.
out for us, ready to make a jump.
Wouldn't it be a she, not a he?
Well, it was for Kirk.
Yeah.
Well, the ship a woman.
Traditionally, a ship is referred to as a her or a she.
Which isn't that why they didn't want women on there, because it was bad luck? You don't want jealousy from the ship of any other women on it.
It's
That
more of
sounds-
a history thing.
That
but-
sounds silly enough to be true. let's
Someone
roll
go
with
change
that.
Wikipedia now.
I think I'm just going to
That
refer
sounds
to the ship
misog-
as they.
That has just the
That
right
is-
ring of misogyny to it to be true. Yeah.
How politically correct a bill to refer to the ship from this point on as they.
Right.
Yes. Sweet.
They are a good ship.
They are a good ship.
Well, I mean, with starships, that's got a chance of being true anyway. With artificial intelligence and whatnot.
Yeah.
How many times did the Enterprise at one point or another become sentient or
Yeah.
generate a sentience?
Those sentience
Well, and they always had
implied
female
gender.
voices. I mean, the starships, the Enterprise.
Well, wasn't that Roddenberry's wife though? Did the voice of all the computers?
Yeah.
So, and at least in the next generation.
And I think
Voyager.
in some of Futurama too. If I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
mistaken. Yeah, it's like she's become the voice of computers just because of that. But well, you haven't given us your pedigree, sir.
I grew up on the Next Generation. Like that was the one show that my parents let me stay up until 10 o'clock to watch. I got to stay up and watch the Next Generation. But I think my captain and my show is Deep Space Nine.
All right. So
Oh,
Cisco,
come on.
Cisco's your captain.
Yeah, Cisco's my
Cisco's
captain.
your captain.
Cisco punched Q.
Did appreciate that, yes.
Cool.
You hit me. Jean-Luc never hit me.
Remember that?
Well, what about Star Wars?
Original trilogy. Although I grew up with those up until the prequels came out. Went to see the prequels. On the prequels. Awesome lightsaber battles. Awesome music. Story.
I'll give you the saber battles. It's like when I saw the first prequel, I realized what I'd been missing. That Luke and Darth Vader and all the original sucked. In terms of, there was no, they're just like, meh, meh, meh. And then you start seeing all these acrobatics and
Right.
and it's like, why, you know.
Actual force combat.
No.
Well,
Like Luke and Darth Vader in the originals aren't Jedi. It's like, if you want to go by this standard.
Like Darth Vader is like in the movies, like they didn't have like any budget or any choreography
I
for the
know.
sword fights, but it like in some of the games and
the games.
and in the cartoon shows, they like show Darth Vader fighting and he's good. There's a reason people are scared of him.
Which they tried to capture in The Last Jedi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that last. Or no, not the Last Jedi.
Sorry.
The Rogue One.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rogue
Right,
One,
that
sorry.
scene at the end of Rogue One.
Rogue One was awesome. That
Mhm.
that was a hell of a thing. I like that.
Yeah, like everything except for the prequels does an excellent job of like making Darth Vader out to be this scary villain.
There is no Darth Vader in the prequels until the very end.
It's the origin of Darth Vader, and that's why I really couldn't get behind the prequels, is because that's not the origin of Darth Vader I had in my
you
mind.
want to think Darth Vader's like he's like grew up tough, and it's like no, it's Anakin, the whiny bitch.
Yeah.
No,
Yes.
But it's also a child of PTSD when you think about his origins as a slave.
Well, yeah, but the story I would have written for Darth Vader's, Anakin's fall is less of whiny teenage rebellion coupled with whiny teenage love, and more just like always taking just one step a little further down that path every time.
I wanted him
Just
to.
one.
I wanted
Yeah.
more of a Conan origin. It's like and after Anakin left the Wheel of Pain.
And the Jedi were like, "Yes, we'll train
We
you,"
will
and he's
train
just like,
you.
"Ah, child blood."
Yes.
But that would be an interesting conversation to have at some point. Is at what point does a writer of a world and a character have to surrender to what the audience wants and the fans who feel like they have ownership over these characters and what they think they should be versus what, no, I, as the author, as the creator, this world's, in essence, God, see and have always seen in my head.
Well, the author never has to give up that control, nor should they. I mean, unless you just, want to make money, in which case, play to your audience. But at the same time, that audience isn't bound to love that story that the author is telling. So,
Absolutely not.
author has the freedom to do whatever they want.
Look at George R.R. Martin, for example.
Yeah.
Except Tyrion, because his wife said she'd never forgive him
Oh.
if he murders Tyrion.
Tyrion has wife armor, I guess.
Yes. That's like +4 against,
Against author.
yeah. +4 bonus.
Well,
Well, we haven't asked Jenna yet. What's your
Yeah.
Star Trek?
Well,
and
as a
Star
part of
Wars?
all that, the last question for
Oh.
both of you before we move on, Marvel or DC?
Well, no, we got to finish up
we're going to finish this
all right.
first?
Finish the Star Trek.
Well, I thought we were
then
doing the
we'll-
pedigree. Well, you
We'll-
could
we'll-
brought in the Star Wars.
Well, no,
too.
you haven't weighed in on
yeah,
your Star Wars
You do
yet.
that, and then we'll
And
come
neither
back to this,
has
'cause
Audie.
I will say, Audie's got to talk.
Star Trek and Star Wars.
Oh, which Star Trek? And
Which Star Trek?
Wars?
Well, the Star Trek is next gen.
Okay.
Because I definitely remember, like, when my dad would be out on the tracks for 7 days at a time, staying up late with mom, hanging out in her bed, and we'd watch Star Trek Next Generation together. So that was kind of like our thing. And there was a lot of strong female characters early on, but, between the Doctor and Deanna Troi.
Right.
Like, it was just, we really enjoyed that together. And Star Wars, definitely the original.
Yeah.
But Return of the Jedi, that was my favorite.
Yep.
Because it had the best fight sequences, and murder bears.
Yeah, I like that designation. We should just call them murder bears.
Yeah, but aren't all bears murder bears? Isn't that just
No.
redundant?
Yeah,
Most
this is
bears
true.
don't
No,
murder.
Gentle
They
Ben.
Koala bears.
Gentle Ben.
Still murder because they're poisonous.
If they're hungry or if in defense, most bears, don't go out looking for people. It's like these were little murder bears running around murdering people.
Murder
They were
teddies,
hunting.
maybe?
Yeah.
Making trophy armor out of their kill.
Yeah, and that's just it. What is Stormtrooper armor good for? If these little murder tiny teddy bears can roll up and kill people in the Stormtrooper armor, and blasters go right through it, and it's like, what? Why are you wearing this stuff? It's
Yeah.
like,
Cannon fodder.
Yeah.
Pure
Yeah.
cannon fodder.
it's like, let's paint them white so people
Right.
can see us better.
This is another
kill
way.
us.
It's another way that the Emperor was demonstrating and abusing his power. He could have given them actual armor. Instead, he just basically sent them out in the cheapest plastic thing he could find at Walmart. Sorry,
No,
Space Walmart. I'm sorry.
He really sent them out in cosplay.
Yes, that is correct.
It was
Act-
a cost-cutting measure. He wanted to make sure that everybody in the Republic had full health insurance.
I mean-
Actually, I think there's some cosplay armor
'Cause they
that is
needed
better
it.
than their armor.
Yeah, some of the probably some of those better cosplayers probably would defend against teddy bears, murder bears.
Yeah.
better than
Than the
the
original.
stuff. Yeah.
How do you think he afforded not one but 2 Death Stars?
Yeah, there
It was
has to be
cut that. Give them the cheapest blasters you can find,
Yeah.
so they can never hit what
And
they're
Darth
aiming
Vader's
at.
6 spaceship choices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That Darth
That-
Vader had like a pretty expensive weakness in that turn.
Well,
That-
I think it
that
makes
is cool.
sense because, let's say you've got these frontline troops, right? They're armed to the nines, right? Armor, weapons, everything. They're going to continue to survive battle after battle after battle. And the more they
Yeah,
battle,
we don't want that.
the
now, do we?
smarter they get. And pretty soon they think, what in the hell am I risking my life out here for? As they get older, they get a little bit smarter, a little bit more in tune with their mortality, and they think, shit on this.
Not unless you build an expiration date.
Well, they are
right.
clones.
Two
which you
years
could do,
tops, yeah.
Right.
And think there's no benefits to pay if they all die.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
yeah. It's
So, yeah, so
You
if
don't want to
you-
pay for that health plan in
shitty-
retirement years. Come on
Shitty
now.
armor, shitty guns.
What do you think they feed the rest of the stormtroopers?
Right.
That's dark.
Clone chow. it's
They're
clone
Sith.
chow.
I mean, come on.
Soylent Green is people.
Yeah.
It's stormtroopers.
Hi, Adi.
Yeah.
Hello. Grew up on first generation Star Trek, but I had
series. Original series, right?
to original series.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Watch him just
I'm
like
thinking-
blink like
Yeah,
these.
but I have to go with next generation. It just grew on me a lot more.
That can be
I
removed.
mean, that John Luke, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was pretty awesome.
yeah. That's what I was going for. Yeah. The original first trilogy Star Wars. The rest of them were a nice follow up. Explained a lot here.
I
and
really
there.
liked Rogue One.
Ooh, yeah.
I did too.
I did
I
too.
loved
That
that
was
one.
really
Yeah.
awesome.
It filled a hole that I didn't even know was there. It's like I call it actually 3.99 because it leads directly into 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
Right.
does, and it's like
Right.
they made it. I'm like, why did they make this? Thank God they made this. But
Yeah.
it's like
I know it.
I didn't even understand that I wanted to see that, but I really it informs my universe better.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Actually, I will say, even though Return of the Jedi was my favorite, best spaceship scene is definitely when, in the last movie, Lightspeed through another ship.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
scene
yeah.
where the
Awesome.
theater went silent. Oh, me and my dad both were just like, yes.
That was awesome.
My thought was that at the end of that scene, it's about freaking time.
Right?
Yeah.
Screw it.
I mean,
Shot,
Yeah.
Lightspeed.
really, where does the Empire or the First Order get their actual money to build stuff from? Because the rebellion is always just blowing this up. At what point do you start investing in smaller but more effective things that are harder to kill in just with the sacrifice of one snub fighter or one?
You only start doing that when you have a democratically elected government because then they've got to answer to the
Please the military
the
industrial
citizens
complex.
Yeah,
and
well, true.
and they've got issues with taxing.
There's very little discussion in.
But if
in
you've
a
got an empire
totalitarian
and an
empire,
emperor, he just says, "Here's what you're going to pay."
I
Bring it
mean,
in.
and we're assuming that all of the planets are actually taxed and treated as,
Equals.
sentient beings when there's probably a lot of planets that are just labor fodder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Like
Right.
not enough. We
Slaves.
just take your resources and,
Right.
screw the people. Or beings, whatever they are, because they may not be people.
Right.
I don't want to be elitist in terms of what species.
No, now here's a question.
Well, no, they're all people, but they may not be
No.
human.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. So Star Wars takes place in a galaxy far, far away. Now, when I saw that, I assumed it was far, far away from this galaxy. But why do they call those people humans? Wouldn't they?
do they?
They wouldn't. Yes.
Do they?
Yes.
They
Is
do.
it- I don't
At
know.
least
Yeah.
Skywalker.
Yeah.
They do?
Yeah,
No, they do
Luke
call
and
them
them, they're
humans.
called because
Human.
I was looking for that to say. Well, I was looking because Linda and I were figuring
Well,
out our Jedi
maybe
In
characters.
the books, too, you look at race. It says
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
That's might be just for a common point of reference. Since humans are playing humans, it's like, I don't know. In all honesty, we shouldn't understand their language. So
Maybe
I
they
mean,
should just call them humanoid.
There are early, I bet, nanotechnology that goes into the ear for that.
Yeah.
Well, not for us.
Or
It's
maybe
Now.
we don't have it.
Yeah, we
Yes.
do. Well, not the nanotechnology, but you can buy an app that'll translate for you.
Oh no,
Right,
no, that,
no,
and
good
that
point.
is cool.
But the humans in the galaxy far, far away.
yeah. How would we understand their language without a TARDIS?
How would we understand it?
Through the magic of science fiction plot.
It is. It's like, and so if just for a common point of reference, it's like, let's just call him human. That way people, because like, you don't think about it.
Mm.
I didn't think about it till just now. And it's like you just pointed out, it doesn't matter. It's a common point of reference. It's something we need, but yeah, I see. It makes it.
It's disturbing.
Yes.
Well,
Yes,
no,
you have disturbed me.
I know.
No matter.
It disturbed me when I read it last week. I was like, human.
No matter what planet the SG-1 comes out through, they always speak English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No matter what planet and or time and or
Yeah.
place the TARDIS visits, they always have an English, British, or Scottish accent,
Yes. Well, that's the TARDIS.
No,
giving them the accent.
Yes.
That's a MacGuffin.
The TARDIS.
That
the
is
TARDIS
a MacGuffin.
translates within your mind what you're hearing.
Stop.
Well, then why doesn't
Just
everyone
stop.
always have the same
Bill.
accent?
Stop
It's
drinking.
obviously
it does a
giving
little.
them
It
accent.
You're
provides a
drinking
little
the
variety,
Kool-Aid, Bill.
Provides a little
You're
variety.
drinking
No,
the Kool-Aid.
John, the TARDIS exists.
Uh,
It is real.
And I'm sitting over here wondering, what did I walk in?
yeah, I know. It's like
An
as he creeped
intervention,
toward-
maybe?
Yep. Leave the
I
sabers.
could have
Just
brought
run.
the handcuffs
Run
if you told me
away.
it was an intervention.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
the TARDIS exists in your freezer, right next to all the heads that you have in there, right? It's like,
there
yeah.
may be
I-
some heads joining them after the
oh,
show.
yes.
I was wondering what that lamp was made out of.
Police, 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 police.
Stranger danger. Help us.
Next show will have substantially reduced cast.
Either that or it'll be worse and just like all our heads are here.
You know, for
A
all,
la Babylon 5 Shadow Council.
Oh, God.
He'll have your head on the wall with a little plaque that says Sean on it.
Of course. You just can't.
you know,
You
for all
just
for all the
can't.
audience knows, I might have Charles' head painted blue and in a box somewhere.
And that, I'm okay with that. I don't know why, but I just think that is actually, yeah,
Does he have his goatee yet?
let's do it.
No.
Soon.
Make it so. But she wanted to talk about DC versus
No,
Marvel.
well, Bill hasn't given us ours.
I
His.
thought he had.
Yeah.
He
I
did.
Yeah,
I didn't say Star Wars. Star
No.
Wars would be
Oh,
the
yeah.
original.
Yeah,
The
because he
original
didn't finish.
3.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, there it is. Move on.
Enough from him.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Marvel versus DC. You?
Gonna have to go with Marvel.
Well,
I mean, I love Stan Lee, and I think a lot of the characters dealt with the complexities of real life and diversity and prejudice more in detail than what you saw in DC. But I love DC no matter what. I mean, sorry, I'm Batman over Superman. I'll just go there. I don't care. Even though he's a crazy billionaire, it's not a lot of fun toys. But definitely Marvel.
Yeah, I have to go with Marvel too. It's just, I don't know. DC, they seem so angsty, like they're so sad and moody, like a teenage high school television series. It's like all these problems are so hard. It's so hard.
I think that's more the recent movies than anything else.
WB.
The WB a bit.
Yeah.
Batman's so sad. He's a billionaire. I think he can figure out some way to make himself feel better. Other than, and I've talked about this before, but Batman's crazy. You know that, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, he's a billionaire causing inequality, which causes people to not have things, makes them turn to crime. Then he puts on a leather black suit, goes out and beats the shit out of people. That's Batman. Okay? Batman's got problems. Yes,
And-
he does. Deep, deep problems.
Goes and finds himself a young underage boy to
Yep.
train up in the ways and
Well, how
put
do
in
you know
a
he's
Just
causing-
put
went
in
to
a
a dark
costume.
place.
How do you know that he's causing inequality?
Here, Dick
What makes you
Grayson,
say
put on
that?
these
He's a
green man
billionaire.
panties and fight crime with
Well-
me. It's like, yeah.
You never thought about that?
No,
Jenna?
no. Things that I cannot unhear at this point.
I mean, it's been a running joke for a while now.
Which part?
the whole Batman Robin dynamic.
Down the bat pole, Robin. Come on, we gotta go. This is the bat pole. Adam West series. It's like it's there. It's right there. The whole. If you watch the 1966 Batman, it's basically just weird 60s homoerotic softcore porn. And Seth's going through his mind and he's saying, "Yes, it is. I see you checking all the boxes in your head."
The music, I think, the music, probably lends to
The
your
bat dance.
The
Batusi.
That was 80s.
Batusi.
No, it wasn't.
No, it
The
wasn't.
bat
60s.
dance was.
The Batusi
No, it
was
wasn't.
60s,
never mind.
yeah.
Well, the Prince did bat dance for the Michael Keaton movie. That I thought he was talking about that.
No. I'm talking about the '60s show with Adam West, where he's doing the dance and.
If you could insert a GIF of the Batusi, it's easy to find.
I can do that.
And it's
We'll
kind
put it
of
on there.
Batman
But why do you
kinda
say-
windowing himself. I don't know.
Why do you say he's fostering inequality? That,
He's a billionaire?
yeah.
How do you make billions of dollars? If there's X amount of money and you have most of it, then other people don't have it. So it's not really a hard concept.
But he's just utilizing the existing capitalistic system.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But
That doesn't mean he's-
by utilizing the capitalist system, he is benefiting while others are not, and therefore the people who don't have.
But how do you know that he's not donating billions to charity to make up for it?
Because he's got all those really neat toys in his underground
Well, he's
wonder
using
cave.
those to help equal the playing field by taking out the
No, he's not.
the
He's
vicious
going out
elements.
and beating up the people that he drove to crimes to make up for his dead parents. And it's like, dude,
What if
don't
those-
drink the Kool-Aid. Stop.
I don't think those people were driven to crime.
You remember a
I
minute
think
ago
they
when
were
the TARDIS
born
was
with a-
real?
I think they were born with a criminal mind.
Really? Okay, so here's a scenario. Batman goes out and just beats the ever-living hell out of some guy's dad because he was down on his luck, or maybe he was a legitimate criminal, just beats the hell out of some guy's dad. He's now crippled for life. What happens to his kids?
That-
They
That-
turn to crime,
Why
and
would
Batman
they?
has to beat them up, too.
How could they not?
Why
Yeah.
wouldn't Batman, after he's crippled this guy, make sure that he's taken care of for the rest of his life and that his kids are properly educated?
Because he
What?
doesn't?
Yeah.
You don't know he doesn't.
We're
you don't
pretty
see
sure he
every
doesn't.
moment of Batman's life.
I think there'd be a lot of Bruce Wayne PSAs out there saying, "Look what I've done."
There may be.
For all these, it's like the Bruce Wayne Foundation for Batman cripples.
Okay. think of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is a billionaire, one of the richest
right.
men in the country.
I just had a mental picture
But I
of
don't
Warren
think of
Buffett
him-
going out in a Batman suit beating people up.
I think he'd break a
But
hip.
I think,
I'm
It
pretty
just
sure
doesn't
he'd
you
break
know,
a hip.
as a billionaire, I think he's a very,
Bruce Wayne contributes to a lot of after-school programs for the children.
To find
See?
future Robins.
yes.
He goes through a lot of them.
Yes, I'll donate to your school, but I want the boys to all try on these Green Man panties.
I thought they were red.
No,
No,
green.
they're green.
Okay.
But really,
that's right.
think about how many after-school programs one bat jet could pay for, or one bat submarine. It's like he could
Yeah, or the
rebuild
bat helicopter.
all of Gotham City with free health care for all. With
But
the,
he's got this massive R&D complex that I'm assuming
just
a
turns
lot
out
of it is turning out stuff that benefits the poor and the needy.
No, they benefit the
you
military.
are really
That's-
giving him a lot of credit that
Literally.
he
I'm
may
just
not
saying.
deserve.
No, in the
I-
movies, his R&D cranks out stuff for the military, which it doesn't help the
Well,
poor
them
at all.
too.
No,
I mean,
not them too.
the
It doesn't
military.
help. It's not, it's
Yes,
it's
them
not,
too.
Yeah,
You
all right.
don't know that some of
All
the
right.
stuff he's
Yeah,
making
all right.
isn't helping the needy.
Yeah. Here we're rolling out all these Bradley tanks for the kids.
Well,
For the
you-
kids, we're
You've
gonna
got
help
to
the kids.
defend freedom.
Oh, I love it when you take the devil's advocate position because it's insane. It's like yours is not like a rational argument. It's like yes, all of these military things are good for children, and it's like, and thank God for
Do
Batman.
you want the children subjugated and turned to slaves?
You mean
under
like
some-
by a Batman?
I think you guys are just so anti-wealthy that you can't see the good in rich people.
This
Sounds
is
like
pretty
rich
hard to
people
find
talk there,
rich
Bill.
What's that?
Sounds like rich people talk there, Bill.
yeah, check your privilege at the door, sir. I think you're just kind of. Looks like Jenna wants to say something.
Although, I mean, just thinking about, because, we're talking about DC and the TV shows and all the different exposure. I mean, kind of going back to original topic of our exposure to what brings us into these different fandoms.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the TV shows were really important for that. And, I mean, that set up a lot of our, going back to what we talked about the last time, kind of morality, what makes us want to be good, the examples that were given. And the TV shows were great for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though a lot of us maybe watched, Batman and Adam West, that was awesome. But also Wonder Woman. I'm thinking about that. And how DC really got ahead in the game against TV shows before Marvel did, because Marvel did the cartoons.
No,
No,
DC
Mar-
has been much better at their television.
Marvel
presence,
had
yeah.
Marvel had their own live action shows
But-
back in the 60s and 70s.
But those were not reruns. Like, I don't remember seeing any Marvel live action TV shows rerun in
That's
the 80s
fair.
and
They
90s.
they were bad. I mean,
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah.
And I love DC for giving us Wonder Woman, giving us Linda Carter as like a Mexican American woman. Like, other than Linda Carter, it's hard to think of too many TV stars like that who represented someone I could relate to as a kid and how amazing she was. Everyone talks about J-Lo bringing in the big booty. Let's be honest. Linda Carter in that Wonder Woman costume. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really kind of does seem like DC has always been better with TV shows, and Marvel has just been, well, since 2000 has been better with movies.
They have had one plan, but that plan is so incredibly successful. It just makes us forget that DC has a much stronger long game. But it's like that really almost this long game is not as good as this
I
short
don't-
little term
I
plan.
don't think that DC has a good long game.
Well, like she's saying, it's like they've been cranking out watchable television shows for a long time, and no one would do superhero movies. And then people tried, but they wouldn't ask people who like wrote the comic books, and they failed. Like the Fantastic Four, the '90s Fantastic Four stuff, the '90s Swamp Thing, all the things that no one asked people who understand comics, and it's like they all failed. But their TV shows, DC's early TV shows, worked really well. But
well, even
Marvel's
into
did
today,
not,
though.
But into today, one thing. It's like one thing. It's like maybe it's like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is okay. It's okay, but really, when we think of Marvel, we think of the MCU.
Yeah.
And DC is struggling with the DCU, I will say that. But it's also, they've had a very long string of success in terms of their television presence.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think what is going to be key is what really speaks to what DC did. In 10 years, are they still rerunning the Adam West Batmans and the Wonder Woman?
yeah.
Because you can get on and see that on some channels now, even.
Yeah.
But what about you two?
Marvel or DC?
I have to admit, I cannot keep them straight.
GTFO.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Jenna, don't nerd shame.
This will be Audie's last show.
That's true.
Yes.
Are we adding his head next to Charles?
His head will be next to Charles, painted red, so the two of
Oh,
them are
God.
forever
Jenna's
locked in
already
combat.
joined him.
Yeah.
That was
You're right.
easy.
No, that's an important thing that Seth just brought up. There should never be any nerd shaming.
No.
Ever.
That said, Audie, get out.
It's impossible to keep up with everything.
Absolutely.
It is. Yeah.
It is. I mean, everything in terms of nuances,
Well-
entire genres, it's kind of a little bit of a what the hell, Audie? Damn.
I haven't seen all of Game of Thrones. I haven't seen any Westworld.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I haven't seen any
Come at
Westworld
me.
either.
But you know they exist.
I
It's like-
do, but
I mean, you
I
can tell.
could-
You
They're
can tell
behind
the
the dreaded
difference.
paywall.
You can tell the difference between Game of Thrones and Westworld.
well, that's because they
Audie
aren't like
doesn't know
two
the
guys
difference.
who are in costumes, and I'm not familiar with like like if you're not familiar with DC and Marvel, like you've got two guys in costumes, like
Yeah.
Okay, I love all the characters.
I thought there was more to
Batman,
that.
Flash, Superman, all of them.
He's a pan comic book
I
hero.
just don't know what
Since he
nationality they are.
Since he just rolled off 3 DC characters.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna call you DC.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, that should be your new nickname, DC. We'll just Audie, screw that. We'll start calling you DC.
he referred
Stands for
to
dumb what?
he referred to Marvel and DC as nationalities, and somewhere
did.
a Marvel and
Yeah.
DC executives just got excited and they don't
yeah.
know why.
Oh,
We're an ethnicity now. We can, yes.
they felt just like that shiver up their spine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like cha-chings.
There's some
somewhere.
chings. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we should not shame Audie, but that doesn't mean we won't.
Right.
So, yes.
Well, so explain to me the difference between Marvel and DC. No.
I was this close to flipping this table. Your lightsabers be damned.
Yeah.
What about my amiibo? Don't hurt my amiibo.
I would say probably Marvel because I really like Superman.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just reeling you guys in. No, I'll probably Marvel. I would say, yeah, Marvel. Most. I really like Iron Man. It's probably one of my favorites. But here's a question for you: $6 Million Man. Would you consider him a superhero?
No.
Well, actually,
Yeah, why not?
Oh no,
Yeah.
wait. There's actually a difference.
Absolutely.
There's superheroes. Superheroes have powers. There are action heroes.
Just like
I don't know.
Batman.
So you're not
no,
counting
Batman
the
does
Iron
not
Man
have
as a superhero?
Batman does not
no.
have powers.
and neither
He
does
just has
Iron Man.
technology.
Iron Man's the same thing. He's
No.
not a superhero.
They have superpowers.
They do not.
Batman and
He has
Iron Man
technological
both.
powers.
They don't. They
Yeah.
have they supplement
They're
their
rich.
powers. Yeah,
That's a
but
superpower.
Yeah.
Well, see, no,
Mastery of the financial world.
No,
Well, give,
no,
Iron
they
Man-
Both, they both inherited from their dead parents, and it's like,
Ooh.
But
That's not
Iron Man
mastery of
is a
anything.
genius.
Well, that's
He is.
I mean,
so that's a superpower.
Superman just inherited his powers from
he
his
did.
parents.
Yeah, he did. He
Right.
did, but
What-
it's not super. And this is important. There's a distinction. There are heroes who have innate superpowers, and there's heroes that make up for their lack of superpowers with technology. And is there a difference? Is there a difference? Yes, there is.
No, I don't think
There is a
that.
difference.
No, because
I would qualify intelligence as a superpower, though.
Yeah.
Have you been to a Walmart lately?
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
are Spider-Man's webs one of his powers?
No.
Why not?
He builds them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no one else has them.
It
But
depends
he
on
did
which.
that
He
himself.
also has innate powers from the
Yeah.
radioactive spider, but shooting webs is not one of them.
But it is one of his abilities that he has given himself.
Yes, but it's not a superpower.
Yeah, it is.
But it stemmed from the
It-
superpower of his intelligence.
It's along the theme of the superpower that he inherited from the spider, but it's like
Well, he was
Yeah.
already a pretty smart kid
Yeah,
before
but-
he became.
Yeah.
Well,
no one else
Exactly.
can actually use them because they fire the webs at such a high velocity that it would take a normal human's arm straight off.
So it takes his powers to control it.
Yeah.
So
Just
I think there's two concepts here. One is the superhero,
yeah,
which I think we all agree, whether you're augmented by technology or whether you have special abilities, you could still be a superhero,
no,
considered a superhero.
no.
So
Yes.
so you
gonna
say Iron Man is not a superhero,
Yes,
and you would say that
It's
think of another one.
nature versus augmentation.
Yeah,
He
right.
does not believe augmentation constitutes a
Yes.
superhero, but natural innate abilities
and this-
is.
yes.
So like a mutant
Yeah.
versus
But
a Batman or an
Right.
Iron Man.
So
Let's
I'm
just
now
call
a
it-
superhero because I wear glasses and hearing aids.
No, you're not because you're augmented. It's
That's-
not inborn.
Yeah.
That's my.
but I mean,
No, you're a
it's-
cyborg because you have hearing
Yes.
aids.
It's-
Yes.
yeah.
But
Technically, our
why?
phones
Why?
make us cyborgs.
Why is it important? Why is I'm making a difference because it's a practical, real difference, and it's like what they do is
Makes him a superhero.
Yes.
Because you can be a hero.
It makes
you can be a brave person and be a hero.
It makes.
But if you go out and don special equipment or a special suit, and you actively fight crime to make the world a better place, that doesn't just make you a hero. That makes you a super.
As soon as you grab a nuclear missile in flight and shoot it through an alien wormhole to destroy their mothership and then survive it, I think you get to be a superhero.
Nope.
But
No, you are extraordinary in terms of your human abilities.
So Batman's not a superhero.
Batman's not a superhero.
Iron Man's not a superhero.
Iron Man's not a superhero.
Incredible Hulk.
Look, Pluto is not a planet. Yeah,
I don't see what that has to do
No,
with
that's
anything.
fair.
it's a matter
It's
of
fair.
definition. It's like what Pluto is. It has a definition of its own because it's classified with other bodies that are like it. Yet a lot of people are upset.
Here, okay.
A lot of people are upset about Pluto being redefined as
because
an
of
icy dwarf.
nostalgia.
Yeah, because of nostalgia. But Pluto is
Considering
not a
it's
planet.
smaller than our moon.
Yeah, no, and
Pluto
that's fair.
is not a planet. It's an icy dwarf. Hush. The audience is out of control. Turn the hose. Turn the hose. But it's like these definitions are important to understand. It's like there is a difference
No.
between a
No.
superhero
No.
and an
Not
augmented.
according to Wikipedia, which is never wrong.
Ha!
Did you just change that right now while we were sitting here? Did the audience
Yep.
just actually changed Wikipedia?
According to Wikipedia right now, superhero fiction is a genre of speculative fiction examining the adventures, personalities, and ethics of costumed crime fighters known as superheroes, who often, but not exclusively, possess superhuman powers. Oh, the phone just went dark. There you go. Often,
So
but
did
not
you.
exclusively, here we go,
So-
possess superhuman powers and battle similarly powered criminals known as supervillains.
Which it brings an interesting question then in terms of the hero who goes through all the work to develop the technology to save the world
Yes.
versus someone who's like, I got lasers for my eyes. I guess I'll go do something with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it
Right.
takes a lot more work to develop
lot
the
more
technology,
work.
to make the
Exactly.
decision, gather the funds, do the technology, gather the
Yep.
resources versus
Become a
someone who-
billionaire,
Here's a question.
helping people around the
But
world.
Peter Parker's not a billionaire.
No.
And he went out and he got the resources,
did
which
it
makes you
anyway.
wonder how he got them. He's like,
Right.
I got
Here-
bit by a radioactive spider. For all we know, he's like performing theft, and they just like,
and that leads right
Well,
into this question.
Wasn't
Hold on,
he
Bill,
doing
hold on.
cage fighting for a while?
oh, this is true.
Wrestling. Professional
Yeah,
wrestling.
yeah.
Well, one time.
One time.
No,
Yeah.
for he
did it
he
for a
made
while.
money
He
at the
Did
in,
it once or twice.
in the
yeah.
movies he did it like once, but in the comics he like was doing that for a while up until and making money at it until
Is that-
Uncle Ben.
Is that cheating?
I would probably say yes.
Is it more cheating than like the kid who just inherits money?
Or the
well
Right.
cheating at wrestling?
Isn't that kind of like the guy who takes steroids? You know,
Yeah.
his mutation is a performance enhancement drug.
So you would say that Captain America is not a superhero because he's just on really good roids.
No.
The
no.
best.
His
The best.
His fundamental molecular structure has changed.
Oh, it isn't?
There's nothing you can do to take away his power.
Yeah, there is. There's a bunch of stuff you can do to take away
but
his
it
power.
always comes back. It's like if you destroy Tony's suits, Tony no longer can be Iron Man.
No, they always come back too.
He rebuilds them, but
Yeah,
it's like
he's still Iron Man.
but now, here's a question.
He's died many times and still Iron Man.
Here's a question. Would you, if you had superpowers, would you be a criminal or would you be a hero?
It varies day
I
by
think I know the
day.
answer to that.
and that's just it. It's just it. Would you always be able to say, I'm going to help the weak and innocent? Or are there going to be times where you're just going to say, screw
I,
this?
for one,
No, I'm
accept my
pretty
new
sh-
overlord, Sean.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I would always be able to say that I am going to help the weak and innocent. It's just that the powerful and the rich would probably view that as supervillainy
Right.
Exactly.
at
Right.
times.
So by the social construction of the power structure of the United States, you would turn to crime. At some point, you would do something that is against the expressed social construction of how things operate in the United States right now. Now
Yeah,
you
Well,
you
can,
if by
you
some
could
point you mean
justify it.
pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
if
So
all of
I
a
have to
sudden
go
I
to-
woke up and I was Superman, I think my first stop would be Washington D.C. to set some new rules.
You know, and you know what? I know exactly
Rule
what you're
number
saying.
one.
I
Yeah.
don't want to say any really too much more about that, but I think that actually is proof positive that there are no superpowers, because I feel that someone would have visited Washington by now. So it's like I think we can say with pretty good confidence that there's no one that can do that.
I don't know that New York Congresswoman.
Ocasio-Cortez?
Yes.
She has superpowers?
No,
Yeah.
Well, I'm just
She
trying
got
to
Twitter.
elected.
Hot.
duh.
That's kind of a weird segue, but all right, you Audie,
Th-
what,
this
would,
is
what
a-
would you do? Would you be an upstanding citizen all the time, or
Oh,
would you?
yes, of course.
What would you do?
For the record,
This from the man who
Yes.
always wears black.
I
Always
that
has
may
the
or
look.
may not have been chopping up bodies
Yeah.
for the roast.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
What about you, Bill?
what's the question?
Now, I guess you answered that.
villain or hero?
What?
Well,
what
We
did they
asked
say?
the mad scientist.
You know, I think we're out of time. Actually, I don't think we have time to answer that question.
before any sort of self-incriminating statements are made.
We'll pick that up next time. Because I think Jenna's got an
She's
appointment.
already a minute late, so.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping time for you.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for another fascinating discussion on science fiction. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next time, where we will answer the question, would I be a superhero or a supervillain?
And is Charles' head actually in a box?
And we'll bring Charles' head back to show you.
Yes. Charles is sick. Yes, he is.
Will any
He
of
is
us
not well today.
will any of us other than Bill show up at the next episode alive? Tune in next week to find out.
All right. Well, thank you all.
Same
See you
bad
next time. I'm
same
Bill.
Bad channel.
I'm Jenna.
John.
I'm Audie.
I'm Seth.
And Seth.
Like, subscribe, share. Find us on all of your favorite podcast sources and tell a friend.
Don't forget to sign up for our new robot army, courtesy of the supervillain that Seth is going to be.
Yes.
Someone send me a lightsaber and I'll spare you.
See y'all next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Galactic Driftwood podcast. For more information and past episodes, please visit our website at galacticdriftwood.space or subscribe to us on YouTube. And now, please deactivate your cranial downlinks, collect your towels, and be sure to watch your step as you exit our gravity well.